Thank you. Now, the last presenter in this press conference is Professor Kai Savolainen. And Kai Savolainen is the director of the Nanosafety Center at the Finnish Institute of Occupational Health. And Kai's background is in medicine and toxicology, and he's been very much active in the field of developing this science of nanotoxicology and the use of it in occupational safety and health purposes. So, Kai.
Thank you very much. Well, first I will briefly deal with what we are doing at the Finnish Institute of Occupational Health at the Nanosafety Research Center. I might mention that we have started activities related to safety of engineered nanomaterials and nanotechnologies some 8 years ago, and this activity has been formalized beginning of 2011. So the center itself is a bit more than, well, 2 years ago, almost 2 years old, but the activity is has been going for 8 years. And our core activity is to carry out top-level science. And the areas in which we work is immunotoxicology effects or in different types of engineered nanomaterials like carbon nanotubes, metal oxide nanomaterials, metal nanomaterials, recently increasingly nanocellulose in different, especially in the lungs, but also we've been looking at genotoxicity effects of these materials on DNA. And we've been also looking at exposure in experimental settings, but also in the field. We've been going to the workplaces, so we have also some real information from real world. And say one of the experience we have obtained over the years is that when talking with different stakeholders, we have in this Nanosafety Research Center, we have an advisory group which consists of people from the industry, from the regulators, funding agencies, and social partners. So, and the goal of that group is to provide feedback on the relevance of our work. But so one of the key messages we have learned over the year and we are providing is that safety means trust, and both of these are good for business. So it's important to be considered by companies. So in our activities, through research, we gain information, knowledge on safety of engineered nanomaterials and nanotechnologies. And we, as said, we focus on safety and health at workplaces, dealing with nanomaterials and nanotechnology products. And we want to support and help companies which utilize these materials. And actually we receive quite a few consultations all the time from different large and small companies, and we provide best support and help we can provide based on our expertise. And the goal is, of course, to enable these companies to deal with these materials, and sometimes they may face really unexpected challenges from outside, from inside the company, because people don't know that much about engineered nanomaterials, which may cause concerns just because of that. And of course, one of the main goals of all the activities within the Institute and the Nanosafety Research Center, which is one of the sectorial research institutes in Finland under the Ministry of Social Affairs and Health, is to provide guidance to the regulators and decision makers. And of course we have social partners sitting in our executive board, so they are both represented in the advisory group of the Nanosafety Research Center. So we provide information to these parties, and they provide feedback to us regarding our activities. If I then think of some of the, say, emerging challenges So when we and all the others have been dealing with relatively old paradigms for hazard and safety assessment, I mean like toxicity testing and risk assessment paradigms, which have been in use, formalized since 1982 or 1983, and it's 30 years ago. But before those paradigms were formalized, so of course there was an evolution. So we actually are dealing with paradigms when we talk about safety assessment or toxicity assessment and risk assessment, with paradigms which are 30 to 40 years old. And the challenge is that considering when we think of engineered nanomaterials, a number of materials which are flooding the market is so huge, and the currently available methodologies and approaches are so expensive that it can be seen that in the future we will be running out of resources. So there's a need to develop new paradigms. Of course, before you can say get rid of the old paradigm, you have to provide something to replace it. And there are actually European Union funded projects supporting this kind of development, and they are ongoing. And I really appreciate this kind of approach by the Commission. And of course, I need to remind that this whole conference would not be possible without the funding of European 7th Framework Program project, Nanodevice, and this conference is part of this Nanodevice project. So it tells us, for example, what all the good things the Commission can do for us, and hopefully we can then, in a way, pay back. And then I would like to just close by saying that the Institute has adopted a new way of aiming at impact. The Institute has been releasing what it calls messages to decision makers. And it's just like one A4 with very clear message. And now in the material, there's in Finnish this kind of message to decision makers, which the title of which is more nanosafety research is required. And this same message to the decision makers or Finnish Institute of Occupational Health information sheet will be also provided in English before the end of this meeting, to be distributed to all EU member states and beyond. So you both can expect that you get one of those messages very soon, hopefully before you leave. So I stop here, and I thank you for your attention, and if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Okay, thank you, Kai. Christina, can you say something about these impact sheets? Are they available already or in English?
Yeah, I have the draft here, but there are some changes, so it will come today, I think. Okay. Might be already
so
in my
if anyone is interested, you can pick up these sheets from the desk. Registration desk.
They will be also available on our website, on the Congress website, so we'll link them there, as well as a video from this conference. If there are some of the journalists in your countries, maybe also, or some researchers who would like to see what you have been talking here, so it can be seen afterwards.
And I would like to emphasize that these sheets are they are science-based and knowledge-based conclusions by the Institute. No, so we have interpreted available data and the best way we can do, and then we have tried to formulate a clear message on a topical issue related to nanosafety, which you can read within, say, less than a minute.
And using this principle from Ronald Reagan that you have to be able to write anything in one page, then it's read by the audience. If you write 100 pages, may not be read your document.
So
Only those who are really interested.
We've been trying to learn.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions comments to Kai Savolainen? Christine?
Yeah, I have one little question. Now that the Finnish economy is not doing so well and not the economy in Europe either, is there a possibility that from the Finnish industry, a nanotechnology company like Carbodium would be a new Nokia? Would we have any
Well, considering that it took almost 100 years for Nokia to become major #1 producer of mobile phones, and considering that it took about 5 years to come down, so it's very difficult to predict. But considering the overall expectations on nanotechnologies, so you never know.
Everything is possible if you are innovative enough. So that's
in our case, I think 50 years is all you need.
Okay. So, if there are no further comments or questions, I am not going to do any sort of comprehensive summary of what has been said. I only want to emphasize one thing, and it is that sometimes we are blinded by the new technology, which has enormous possibilities and enormous sort of potentials. We are blinded to the extent that we don't pay enough attention to the other side of the coin, and this has happened in the past, and we have been paying a high price on that. So I think we are now dealing with a situation where we have the whole use of nanomaterials and nanotechnology is opening huge potentials in various fields, which I think we should be wise enough to use it in a balanced way, so that we are really, like the US and our South African colleagues and also the European decision makers have decided that yes, you want to develop this technology and use it in making new sort of industries possible and new jobs, create new jobs. But you don't do it at any price. So you also want to emphasize the safety side, and you want to invest there. When you don't have the scientific evidence, then you have to act based on precautionary principle. But even at that time, you would like to build up the scientific evidence so that you can then improve your decision-making systems in the future by having the evidence-based approach. And this is I think, a common challenge in the science field, and also in the regulatory field, and also in the political field, because all of these things come together. I thank you very much, the presenters in this press conference, and the audience for your participation. Thank you very much. And I guess that people, if anyone wants to have a private chat with any people here, they are available.